See if you have any questions or comments on that, any changes. Otherwise, I'd accept a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, there they go. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Tony, what did you have for us today? Well, let's start out with the accounts payable claims. And those are in the amount of $709,186.15, $709,186.15. I think I told you all at the beginning of the third meeting that a big portion of that are the requests that came in for the invoices for the chiller and so forth. And I think there's 100,000 with distribution to economic development, not economic development fund. Council on Aging. So those are some of the big ones in this one. Down in Glancy Funeral Home, is that for a pauper funeral? Or that is probably for a soldier, for Downing and Glancy Funeral Home? Veteran Service Officer, veteran.
Yeah. It's
So
over
the-
burial.
okay.
500.
Gotcha. Very good.
Tony, the Stoops Freightliner $101,000, is that?
That is for something that the highway department had ordered. I'm assuming they had a problem with shipping. So hopefully that means it's gonna be on the net.
That's right. Okay. Make a motion to approve the claims. Second.
If you had a question, I'd glad to, if you did want to. But
Yeah, the Stoops Freightliner $101,100 claim this month. That is for the truck that is being currently built. Okay. So what normally happens, we does like the package, so that means get the truck chassis, get the bed, and all the equipment. What happened this time, that thing was pushed back so far, and we're over a year, and they're still finishing the truck. Normally, we don't pay for that until we get the whole unit. Well, the guy's been in business long enough, the guy was truck chassis manufacturer said, well, hey, you know, I better have delivered it 6 months ago, where, not my problem with the bed in there. Yeah, and with the supply issues, that's dragging the bed out some. So, we talked about it and we told them that, yes, we would pay you now for that, because you're sitting on it, they've been sitting on it a long time. But also knowing that when we pay you for this, we want the title. So they should go through, claims should be paid tomorrow.
so you actually have ownership of the truck.
Correct. So that was the other thing I put down. I said, if we pay you now for the chassis, we want the title. So if it should get paid tomorrow, and then I told them Thursday, once you see it's in your account, you're okay with it, we want the title.
Right.
So yeah, that was an extreme, I guess you want to call it extreme legal circumstances. So that is why that is being paid now. That is on the truck that's being built.
Okay.
So therefore, real quick too, on the next one that you guys just approved was last year to go ahead and order. We're just doing the chassis itself. We're not doing all the equipment. And we told them this way, when we get the chassis, we can pay you, no question asked, with things. They also, I think I should put the guy to of course too, if we do it that way, there's a bit of a discount. Yeah, that was this one. We're gonna get the title for this week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yep. All right, motion's been made and seconded, and claims are approved as presented. Thank you. Okay, next we have payroll claims. And the payroll claims are in the amount of $369,951.09. Okay. Did you guys want to take a look at those?
That's payroll.
Payroll.
Make a motion, we pay payroll.
Second.
Be a lot of unhappy people if you didn't. And don't write 2022. All right. Next, we have the Allied Insurance monthly claims. And the monthly claims, for Steve's benefit, I think you've been here and said about the monthly claims ads for administrative and
Yes.
all that.
Just don't ask me if I remember.
Payroll claims sheets.
Should be one. I was thinking that was what. Steve, what's the front page of yours look like? That was front page.
Accounts payable claims?
That's accounts payable, sorry. Yep, sorry. So I didn't think I had to, no, I was just thinking that. I don't know if everybody gets paid twice, or not. You're welcome. You guys okay with that? You get paid twice?
You have my approval.
Jim says it's okay. You already made the motion on that, didn't you?
Accounts payable.
Yeah, we did on accounts payable. We didn't.
Not payroll, right?
Yeah, not payroll.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we pay payroll.
You did make that motion.
I thought
Did I
so.
second? Second.
All right, make a motion carries. Okay, we now have the Allied monthly insurance claims in the amount of $53,367.97, $53,367.97 is the administrative stuff.
Okay.
And as we found out last week, that stop loss coverage is very important. We did not receive a weekly insurance claim thing. We normally do on Monday or Tuesday morning. We did not. The only one we got was an old one that we'd already paid.
Motion.
So they may have turnover over there or something. I emailed them. I said, we've already gotten this one. And we need you to send us a new one by Tuesday morning if you want paid that time, at that time.
Make a motion to approve the Allied claim.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. And then next we have the consultant fee for health insurance, Aaron Shockley, monthly fee, $29,1667, $29,1667.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, okay, motion carries. And then we have I passed out to you before the meeting, the monthly report for December for the clerk of the circuit court. Submitted by Shelly Bank, just needs everything to the record.
So moved.
Second.
When did they switch over from community corrections, making their own? Was he on the line? He's on yeah, they've been, community corrections has been bringing over the pay-ins to the departments. Doing that every day, actually. Well, hopefully that's going well enough. Okay. And then, as I mentioned earlier, twice a year, Sheriff Dan has to, well, the other sheriff at the time, has to bring up a record of receipts, disbursements, and balances. It's just something that they're required to give to you. But the chairman would like that entered into the record, so I have it on email, I'm going to email it to you guys. Maybe even during the meeting or something, but at some point you'll get it. So at this point, it's just a matter of entering it. Just to officially consider it.
Make a motion to accept that report.
Second.
All right. Let's see. I think Mark is going to bring up a couple of things later on, and him that might need to be on the record. The only other thing Steve Bailey. Do you remember, I think it was the last meeting, that we were discussing a claim that I was looking at that I thought it had been earlier, so there's found with IT. And I don't think we ever approved the other one, and I believe still that this was all three added together. You want to take a look at it? Yeah, I think too, because he had three. That one just got missed because we were concentrating on the other. So yeah, that was, so we would just need to go, a motion to, I don't know if that's an invoice or just close waiting on the invoice, I'm not sure. But we'll put it in a big stack of quotes waiting for invoices.
So this is the total 4971.
Yeah. And what was that? It's all the same company, right?
CX Tech, maybe.
Something to do with IT. I think we have read about that. We just have never made a motion on approved.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, that would be the total 49,737. Second.
All right. Motion carried. Let's write that back so I have the. Thank you, Tony. Okay. Okay, I believe that is actually all I have. Okay. Anything else for Tony? Okay. All right, Brad?
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, you guys bringing that up, how much of it, actually, probably found some time, the sheriff left. So kind of, used to be we would bid them as a whole package. And the supply issues right now, that's what threw that in, because it was almost a year to get the chassis. Now we're almost 3 months, I think, on the other equipment. And so we've been in contact with them, hey, where are we at? And the last we've heard, they've been sending us pictures, they're getting there. The last thing they didn't have that we knew of was the cylinder that raises the bed. That's pretty critical. That's kind of what we're waiting on this last, on the one we're building now. So yeah, then we've gotten permission at the end of last year to get a chassis again, knowing it could be almost a year out before we receive it. So we did some digging, Mark had, we looked at some things, we bought the chassis, and then when that time comes, we get closer to when we're actually going to have it. We'll go with the other stuff. Yeah. So yeah, from this being built, you will see another bill coming in for the rest of the equipment. So yeah, it's amazing how times have kind of changed how you do things.
Yeah.
Used to be able to order the whole package in about 6 months, we'd get the whole thing delivered. So. Couple other things. Last week I came asking for permission to bid for our community crossings project. Can't remember if I told you guys we plan on opening February 7th at this meeting. So I thought I'd better let you know that. It has been getting advertised, I saw. And then, I'm not sure, we talked last week about the speed limit change down in Geneva, but I have Mark, if you had time to work on that yet or not. It's a change of speed down in Geneva.
Yeah, I'm working on it, so we'll get it submitted to the commissioners probably for approval next week.
Okay, and that's all I wondered.
Mhm.
And other than that, I don't think I have anything. Open for questions.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Good job, Brad. All right, Rick, did you have anything for us today?
I guess the first one was a question for Mark. Mark, did you find anything out about that generator project?
Yeah, I'm gonna get with you on that.
Okay. The only other thing at this time that I have is, Shannon, did you comment?
I don't know.
HR involved, it's usually not a good discussion.
No, we had talked, so we had a citizen come in a couple weeks ago and make some pretty derogatory comments to one of our departments. So the appropriate people have been notified and talked to, but I brought it to the safety committee last week, and then I also brought it to steering committee on Thursday as well. And the recommendation from the safety committee, Sheriff Dan, and everybody else involved is that we would like to go back to having this building locked, and then we'll have the entrance on 4th Street open to kind of prevent people from entering and exiting the building at all times. And then we're going to build on that from there in terms of more safety measures for this building. We'd like that to be a starting point, but we're going to build on that, to try to get more safety measures in this building specifically, including trying to get the doors to the fitness center up, worked on, and all kinds of fun stuff. So safety committee's talked about it, steering committee's talked about it, and Sheriff Dan has specifically said that that's his recommendation. So we're now coming to you guys asking for permission for that to happen. I would like to happen effective immediately, but I know that's not always an option. But maybe next week we can put some signs on the door for this week, and then next week it could be, when it starts.
Maybe just one thing. People wouldn't be able to come in any door but door 4, but they would be able to exit any
Door 4 is this door right here.
That's correct, right by the elevator. That would not affect the employees that have access to the building.
Well, what's the logic for that, providing a more safer, secure environment?
Maybe it buys a few more seconds of something, a few more minutes or something.
So it sounds like to have the most convenient doors to the parking lot locked sounds like a pretty significant inconvenience to the taxpayer, to our customers.
To add to that, I guess I'll piggyback on her request. We'd want to ask permission to maybe have at least 4 on the west side out here in the parking lot designated for visiting parking. That's already been approved through the commissioners. It's not done yet, waiting on the city. There's 2 more handicap spots that'll be on the road out here, along with the ones that are already out there. Is it an inconvenience? That's trying to help to relieve what you're just mentioning, trying to designate a few of those spots over there. And I don't know if Sheriff's in here or not. but-
So are you gonna put these 4 parking spots here? Keep them
Right now.
dedicated just to customers?
And part of the reason that door number 4 has always been the chosen door is because of ADA access. So if we're going to have one door open, that's got to be the door that we have open. So if we do that, because that was, when we first talked about it, that was one of my first questions too. It's like, hey, we got all this parking on the north side of the parking lot. But, so if we open up some more visitor parking, so 30-minute, 60-minute parking, whatever, so they have as close access to door 4 as possible, that would be great. But the other thing with Rick working on the door locks to where everybody's got a badge and can badge in the building, hopefully it won't be any inconvenience to any of the employees that are using those doors. Because they'll be able to badge in on the north side or the east side or wherever. So, yeah, it's not that, the whole idea is just to kind of, if there's a bad person that wants to come in the building, they're only going to have one place to come in, and if we increase our security, which we've already increased our security at both courts, so not be inappropriate to increase our security here also, considering the threats that Shannon has talked about, so.
Yeah, and like Rick said, it's about buying time. That's really what it comes down to, is if you limit the access to the building, and we have a camera on that door, and of course it's not monitored, but that's something that we've talked about in safety committee and steering committee, is how do we amp up things? This is just a first step, because we're the only building that the county has operational, that has multiple entrances that anybody can get to with any business, during any business hour of the day. I mean, every other building that we own, there's only one public entrance. All of the traffic is
And
channeled.
I understand that, as long as that public entrance, that public entrance is somehow adds a level of security, whether it's physically monitored or electronically monitored or whatever, but just to say, we're gonna limit the number of entrances, and that's gonna add security, I guess I don't see that. Now, if you're telling me it's gonna be monitored, by a camera and somebody's gonna watch that camera, or we're gonna put, whatever, we're gonna put somebody at the door.
Right.
I know Sheriff Dan was a real big proponent of one entrance to this building, so he would probably be better able to speak to that specific advantage, I guess. But,
Do we have panic buttons or whatever in the offices? So if I'm engaging with somebody who becomes unruly, I can immediately call for help.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
We
Most
do.
of them do. I don't.
That system needs to be truly updated.
Yeah.
I have checked into that. My findings on it, which I turned over to Sheriff. Again, it was down to money, but he was thinking that he was gonna converse with the judge and see if they accepted what was proposed. But to answer your question, there is. It's an old system.
I mean, I think it's a real concern. I'm not trying to downplay the concern at all. I'm just questioning the strategy.
Yeah, and like I said, in my opinion, and I cannot speak for Rick or anybody else, but in my opinion, this should be the first step to other steps that we take to make this building more secure. I mean, I recognize that we are public servants and that's fantastic, but at the same time, we also have 35 people in this building that we have a responsibility to as well. So I think that this should be our first step, and then we'll go back to safety committee, steering committee, work with Rick and Dan and everybody else to start building on this to make this building more secure.
Sheriff, since you just came in, we were having a discussion on making this a one-entrance building and the pros and cons of that from a convenience standpoint, but also from a security standpoint. What, if you could speak to specifically what's going to be the advantage of making this a one-entrance building from a security standpoint?
Okay, you can't talk from security in the same sense, because they don't jive.
Okay.
You either do it for convenience, or you do it for security reasons. So there's really not a compromise between the two, because if you compromise, you're lacking security, you're lacking convenience. So, just like we were locked down for the pandemic, one entrance, it tells people that we were watching. We are making an inconvenience for a reason, for security. So it's the perception that if you're going to do something wrong, this is a more secure building, you only can come in here. They probably think we have cameras and all this, which we don't, but they think that is it true security? No, it's not. It's a perception of security, but it does limit how people come in. But this is, it also is not a one door, because the gym door is always going to be open too, I'm assuming, correct?
We did talk about that at the steering committee on how we could handle that and secure that.
So you're going to have Third Street door open and you're going to have Fourth Street door open. It would be the two areas where people can get in and police can come in the other doors because they're fobbed, correct? Yeah. So, I mean, I do, we should limit the entrances in here. It is an inconvenience to our citizens, I understand that, but it is still a level of security where it's perception that it is a more secure building because realistically, is it? No, because we don't have a screener, we're not doing that type of stuff. But it gives a perception of someone more secure building, and that's why I do like it. It's cheap security, inexpensive security.
Ben, you had a comment?
I think everybody knows where I'll be coming from, but this will be a great inconvenience to the taxpayers that come up and pay their taxes. We have a lot of elderly that like to come and pay in person. And nobody likes to pay taxes. So you get an elderly gentleman that has to park clear down there because that's the only place to park. And then walk up 2 different flights of stairs to only find the door closed. And then walk all the way around and then walk all the way back to the office. And we can do it, we do it all the time. But we will hear it, we will hear it in spades. A lot of people will complain about that. If you guys gotta do that, I understand. I'll just have to have extra verbiage when I mail out the tax statements.
Sure.
I mean, part of it too is the parking that is out here along the street, let's get some signage out there and put temporary parking for those reasons, because when they come in and deal with it, they're in there 10, 15, 20 minutes, so make half-hour parking out there on the street, maybe the first couple of spots here on the end of the parking lot, where people can come in, the elevators here, elevators up to them, that stuff, try to make that more convenient. I agree with them, that is the part, but if we can put some signs out here on the street, and maybe the first 2 spots over here, the parking lot, angle parking, where that's temporary parking for 15, 20 minutes, I think that would relieve those people's anxieties.
Well, and I think if we could help to address the convenience standpoint from additional parking, but that same elderly gentleman that you're talking about could come in here with no steps, go to the elevator, go to the second floor, with no steps, and have a short walk to your office. So if they understood that we're attempting to make it as easy for him as we can, but I think a big thing, if we do that, we're going to have additional parking on this end, wherever it is. And we're going to have to make sure that people know that that's what we're doing. So, but as far as security, the threat that came in a couple of weeks ago was, hey, I'm going to solve this myself. Bullets are 50 cents each, and I can afford that. It's like, you have to take threats like that very seriously. And like Shannon says, we've got 35 people in this building that we're responsible for the safety of. So, yeah. So
I think that, Sheriff said perception of it. I think it also speaks volumes, if you were to do it, that we have expressed this concern, we do take it serious, and we're aware of what has transpired here in the last, actually, there's been 2 different instances that I know of. Speaks volumes to our 35 employees that we are concerned with it. It's just a perception for right now. Maybe it can grow, but we do care about our employees. We do care about the safety for anybody that walks into this building. And this is the reasons why we're doing it.
Well, and the other thing is, if you could get together with the sheriff and work on a system to where we have reliable payment plans, I think that would go a long ways too to get help here as soon as possible if someone needed it.
As I stated before, we've had that conversation. We'll just have to talk to see where we're at with that.
Because I guess I've never tested our panic button here. I don't know. So
We tested it a few years ago, but it's been a while. That was back when Doug was still here. Tested it.
yeah. So, but yeah, between you and the sheriff, you could come up with that system. I think that would be.
We're looking at a couple different systems, we just have to see compatibility, how we want it, buttons, long computers, combination of both, that type of stuff, so the conversation has started already.
I think it would probably be a good idea to do that, but I think we also need to let the public aware a couple weeks' notice that we're going to be doing this, and it's going to be permanently.
John?
Is that truly solving any problem though, just walking a door and having you go from one,
It's the inconvenience.
but is it solving a problem?
No, not necessarily, but like Dan said, it's the perception of what we're doing, and it is the inconvenience, right? If you have a bad actor who comes and yanks on whatever the other doors are that will be locked in this scenario, it's gonna take them that much longer, you know, to get around to the other door and figure out, oh, this is actually how I get in, which buys everybody in this building time if we can realize what's happening when it's happening. But like I said too, in my opinion, this is just a first step. You know, this is the first thing that we would do, and then we need to build on top of this to make this building more secure.
Even if you have a camera and monitoring, it'd have to be monitored and have to
Right.
know specifically who to look for. In this case, you're only looking for one person. And a threat could be from any one person at any time for any reason. And so if you still have somebody monitoring this camera, it still is, I mean, the problem still isn't solved, I guess.
And the problem's never gonna be solved. I mean, you know, and I think Dan can speak to that too, is that, and I don't wanna be all dramatic, but you're never, ever gonna be able to solve the problem or the threat of a possible active shooter, ever, in any building, in any situation. But every measure that you put in place and every training that I've been through and every conversation that thing that I've ever learned is that you put measures in place to buy time for people. For example, I'm on the 3rd floor. If I hear gunshots on the 2nd floor, I should have a plan in place that I've worked out with Dan and the safety committee to say, what do I do if this happens?
I get that.
You know what I mean? So I think that this is just a stepping stone for us to become more secure. You know, like, this isn't gonna solve anything, don't get me wrong, I know that. And it's not gonna prevent anybody from doing anything bad that they wanna do, but it does make it that much more difficult to do it. And I think that's what we should be working
You know,
towards.
this would be a much bigger question, but if you have one person that is making threats and you know who this person is it even legal to have somebody in the federal building? Can you even do it?
Like a restraining order?
Yeah, you know,
No trespass, Mark, and I'm gonna have this conversation with you. I do, I'm 99.9% sure I can no trust somebody from a public building. They have to do their business through mail or something, they just can't do it in person. That's what I need your opinion on, can that be done?
I have to look. But to me, it seems like we would have a restraining order,
I would think.
but I don't know.
You'd have to have a restraining order, you think, just gonna trespass them?
Well, if they're given notice, then,
Well,
yeah, have to give them notice.
And that's what I've been trying to find that one person. I haven't been able to find that person yet, but I also want to know that answer. So when and if I do find them, I can deal with that all at the same time.
Mhm.
I guess they would be given a mobile no trespass notice that's put into the system, then if they would come onto this property, then they could go to jail immediately. By city, county, it doesn't matter who sees them, any officer can make that arrest off no trespass.
Do we have, is there an individual that we've identified at the present time?
Yes.
All right, then we need to talk about it.
Okay.
It sounds like there's multiple elements to this. There's not just the convenience elements, there's the security elements, and there's multiple elements to the security aspect. To improving the responsibility for security for this building. So I guess for my benefit, if you and Rick and the sheriff could work together to maybe, instead of just doing this one step at a time, actually kind of sit down and say, what would be the best thing for this building to offer the most secure environment while still doing public business? You know, it could be a short 3-step plan, it could be a 5-step. I mean, it could be a plan to where we could look at it comprehensively and saying, this is the best we can still do and offer the best services to our clients. So, would you be willing to do that? Hopefully, it wouldn't be a big undertaking, but, you know, just kind of a little bit more comprehensive than leaving it out the doors, you know. So, between the doors and parking and painting buttons and just, because I know there were address issues when we talked about it, the steering committee or the change committee. So, you know, maybe comprehensively we could kind of look at that just to have a well thought out plan, I think, maybe. I don't know if that's something that would sound better or feel better to.
It does to me. I want to provide as safe of an environment as we can for our employees. There's no doubt in my mind, but we do have to balance that with the fact that we have that we have an obligation to our customers, the taxpayers, and other folks that enter this building as a public building. We have to make it as convenient as we can for them to interact and do business with us. I hate to take a knee-jerk reaction to one bad actor and not provide a comprehensive plan that says this is how we're going to provide a more secure environment for our employees, as well as take into consideration the convenience aspect of the folks that come in to do business here. So I'd like to see more of a plan versus we're going to lock the doors and make it a perception of security without really adding any security. I think John makes a good point. I don't think we solve the problem, but we just make it less convenient for the folks that do business with us.
I'm happy to put together a plan and work with Rick and Dan and all the relevant folks, but I have learned over my short 19-month tenure here that it takes time to get things accomplished. And I think that this is a very real and credible threat that we're talking about, and locking the doors is an easy and free mechanism to make it one step harder for a bad actor.
I don't think you even get one step harder. I don't believe it gives you anything. If I'm going to come here and do harm, I'm going to know that that's the door that's open, and I'm going to know where to park. And the fact is, you're not going to know I'm coming. So unless we can provide an impediment for that person to reach the people that they want to do harm to, I don't think we're doing anything. I don't think we're gaining any ground. I think we have to throw out where's the impediment at. Now, the one thing I would ask is, do we have and can we put signs on the door that says no firearms allowed in this building? And do we have those? And, I think there's some things maybe we could do there to where if somebody comes in the building and they have a firearm on it, we can immediately say, you walked right past the sign that said no firearms allowed. You're done. You're out of here.
I don't believe that our doors currently have that sign on them
Takes a resolution or ordinance
here.
from here to make that.
Yeah, I know they're at the courthouse.
Yeah, the courthouse would have to be a judge's order.
Yes.
To judicial order. For this building, it would have to come from you guys.
I would absolutely support that.
How long do you think it would take you three to put together a comprehensive plan like that?
But I want to reemphasize too that should go in front of the safety committee. This was one of the major reasons that committee was formed. So right now they meet every 2 weeks. And then after it goes through safety committee and we're able to brainstorm some ideas and put some things on paper, it needs to go to the steering committee. So I mean, in my opinion, at absolute minimum, we're talking about 30 days. Absolute minimum, we're talking about 30 days. And it's just, I hear you and I understand, but I disagree. It's just 30 more days that we are as vulnerable as we can be as it stands right now. And I recognize that we have a responsibility to the taxpayers, but we also have a huge legal responsibility to the employees to provide a safe working environment. And I know that's the goal, but like I said, this is easy and it's free and it's right now. It's that fast.
And it's also inconvenient to the folks that pay our salaries.
Well, I would say immediately the thing that we have in place is panic buttons in all the office. So let's do that first. Let's make sure they're working. Everybody knows where they're at. And in the meantime, if you come up with a comprehensive plan, it's something that we could act on fairly quickly, I think.
Your plan, you're talking new panic buttons and stuff too, and that.
I don't know if they're new or just putting batteries in these or.
No, we need to upgrade. There's no
So,
because there's no way of telling when those batteries go down and stuff, and they're not reliable, so a comprehensive plan will include a new system for
Because
the.
if a bad person comes up to the treasurer's office, they can get in whether it's that bad, they can get in whether it's store number 4, they can get into the treasurer's office. And if they get in and become a threat at that point, to me, a panic button would be much more able to get them help more quickly than if we had all the doors locked. So I guess I would spearhead that effort as soon as locking the doors. So you should have a panic button. You should have those in the offices.
We tested this one. Did it hit a location or just, did it say?
I believe it does say, commissioners, I believe.
I test mine every year, and I have several in my office. And we replace the batteries every year, and we test them. I always make sure an officer is in the room when we test. And they're really good about working with us on that.
And maybe for the time being, until we can get a new updated system, at least if we make sure what we have works.
I think they even have wearable ones now.
But that's only if you fall and can't
No, they do that, it just depends on like with the schools all, well, not all, but sometimes another two schools, corporations are going to, they wear their bags and gets them in their doors, but there's a button on the back, and if they push that button 3 times, it alerts certain people that I have an issue where I'm at, and it puts them on a map where they're at.
Okay.
And they respond with that approach. They hit it 5 times or more, it puts the whole school in lockdown. So that technology is there.
Okay.
It just depends on how much you want to spend. The technology is there for that. It's a great system. South Adams has AC and North Adams are both looking at the system now also. So, like I said, we're going to move toward not saying that level, but just new system of panic. It's 30 to 60 days probably before we can get something comprehensive.
Well, if immediately, if we need to update these testings, that's something we could probably do today, or this week, whatever.
And I'll get with it.
If we have a plan within 30 days, if that includes locking doors, if that includes replacing the system, if that includes putting the metal detector and signs at the door, whatever you think would be a practical way to secure this building as best we can and still make it approachable for the business we have to do. So, and so if there's things we can do today, things we can do this week, this month. But if we have a realistic approach that includes everything from door locks to parking spaces to panic buttons to cameras to signs, whatever. I would certainly be willing to act on what we can as,
All these things that you're mentioning, that everyone's mentioned, they have been discussed. Cameras, panic buttons, door locks. We're doing different door locks to get the system decked. They've all been discussed. Not in this type of format of a meeting, but maybe that was a mistake because I didn't want to bring those things up because of our shortcomings getting out too.
I hear you. I understand that. And I think we can, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, if we decide that we want to have a security and safety discussion with commissioners, we can do that in executive session. So that's an executive session topic so that, and I know Jim wouldn't do this, and so that our friends in the publish our vulnerabilities, but I think we have a venue that we can do that in and have that conversation. I believe me, I don't want to come across as being the person that doesn't perceive that that's either a risk or that there's value in providing a safe and secure environment. I do. I just want to do it in a way that is effective and causes the least inconvenience to those folks that come in here every day with a reason to be here and good intentions. It frustrates me every time we put barriers out for honest, good intended people because of 1 or 2 bad actors. It just flat makes me angry. So I know we have to do some things like that, but let's do it in a very plainful way. And if it's money we're concerned about, I'm not, to be quite honest with you. I think we have to spend what it takes to provide a safe environment for our employees, whether it's over in the courthouse, whether it's in the courtroom, whether it's our probation officer, or whether it's the folks that work in this building. I think we owe that to them to have a safe and secure environment. But let's do it in a way that causes the least inconvenience possible to those folks that come here with a valid reason and good intention to just want to come and do business with us. Pay their taxes. Oh my gosh, let's let them do that without making them jump through hoops.
With that being said, I do have to commend you as putting a safety committee together. I think that is something that was probably long overdue, and I think it's, you know, you have begun to take a look at things that we haven't looked at before.
Right.
So I think, you know, you're to be commended and the committee is to be commended for opening that door and looking at those things. So I guess that's kind of my thoughts from here as far as the board's right now. And if that becomes part of our comprehensive plan, then we will act on that as quickly as possible.
I think that was one of our first conversations when we met, of safety.
Yeah.
Tony, did you get all that written down? I know. And the money there too. Thank you.
There is a provision in the code that you can't hold an executive session for the implementation of security systems.
So we can have that conversation.
Good.
And whenever you guys are ready to have that conversation, we'll be ready.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
Yep.
All right, Ed, did you have anything for us?
Just like to put on the record for your commission meeting, that we had a financial planning committee meeting just prior to this meeting. And the elected new sort of finance officers would be Steve Bailey as the chairman, Steve Kuhn as vice chairman, Stan is a member on that committee, the commissioners, and then myself as by state statute, the county treasurer is automatically the secretary of the Board of Finance. We had us four plus my chief deputy Kathy LaFountain, and we went over things in quite a bit of detail. Spent an hour plus doing all of that. And I just want to thank you guys. It was a good meeting. We got a couple things we're going to investigate and pin down a little bit, but I just wanted that put on your minutes for this meeting. And other than that, that's all I have.
Well, very good. I'd like to commend you and Kathy both, because as we went through the reports, they were incredibly balanced every day, and it was just an immensely complicated process for what you have to be able to put together to manage our finances for the county.
Taking $40 million thereabouts every single day in the balance. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Thank you. Bud?
Morning.
Morning.
I will be brief today. We have our monthly report for Golden Meadows for December 2022 for submission and approval. And just to let you know, current population remained at 25 residents through the end of December, 15 male, 10 female. Total amount charged or billed for the month of December was $29,838.75, with the income and receipts coming in at $27,146, difference of $26,9309 for December. So again, just a good month for us from the respect that we lost one, we got one in as far as residents go. December is always a good month for us out there because the residents, of course, have Christmas to look forward to. And again, this year, which I've mentioned numerous times, the local outpouring of generous folks is just incredible. Fleetwood, woodworking, we'll have Christmas carolers come, various churches come and bring gifts for the residents. The list goes on and on. So we're very thankful for that. We have local restaurants that donate pies to us and cakes, and Kroger's excellent. They donate bread and bakery items to us every week. So we have a lot to be thankful for. And the residents, you know, they really appreciate that. So we had a great meal out this year. We went to the galley. They really enjoyed that. We also took a trip up to visit the lights, which I mentioned up in Fort Wayne. So they enjoyed that as well. So other than that, just continuing to do what we do. So we have lost our maintenance technician. I'm not sure if you've been apprised of that yet. Don resigned last week. So we've met with Shannon about reposting that position. Really no reason given. He thanked us for the opportunity and love.
So is that something, and I know you've kind of been coordinating with Rick
Yes.
sometimes, so,
Yes.
you know, hopefully.
And we're looking to continue that relationship, quite honestly, going forward. I think it's been a positive for both of us. You know, I know it's helped him out and we're able to do it. So I see no reason why we can't continue that going forward, provided we get some, you know, good applicants again. So, yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know sometimes the residents can tend to be a forgotten people sometimes. So it's good to hear that, you know, they are being remembered, especially through at Christmas time. And
Correct. I do want to give a shout out to Brad also for the huge snowfall that we had. We were really packed in there at the front of the building, which I communicated with Stan about. And they actually had to bring a loader out there and get that moved away from the front of our building.
yeah,
Because it
that's a pretty big pile.
was a big pile. But thanks to those guys for coming out and taking care of that for us. So we really appreciate it. Because we couldn't have handled that. There's no one else.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your work.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Mark Wynn's not here yet. Okay, Mark, did you have anything?
Got the resolution that we discussed last week for Decatur's precinct changes.
Want me to sum up?
Sure.
Now that I understand it a little bit better. How was I everything? Let's say, last week I was in a phase of a gate, didn't understand everything as well. So Mark, if you wanted to go ahead and.
Yep, so we've got the resolution. And it is resolution 2023-2. So the resolution of the County Board of Commissioners establishing precincts. Code requires the boundaries of precincts be established and revised in compliance with the law. Pursuant to the Indiana Code, Adams County, through its Board of Commissioners, has determined it's necessary proper to establish and revise boundaries of certain precincts for the county and the city of Decatur. Located within Adams County in compliance with the ordinance or the statute passed ordinance 2022-24, which was attached to this resolution as an exhibit. The city of Decatur revised boundary lines between Council District 3 and Council District 1, creating a split precinct within Adams County Precinct 3. Whereas the Adams County Board of Commissioners desire to adjust a portion of precinct lines for Precinct 3 and Precinct 1 within Adams County to coincide with the boundary lines for District 3 and District 1 for the city of Decatur as represented in the ordinance 2022-24. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners that you hereby adjust a portion of precinct lines for Precinct 3 and Precinct 1 within Adams County to coincide with the boundary lines for District 3 and District 1 for the city of Decatur as set forth in that ordinance, which is their ordinance, City Ordinance 2022-24. And also resolved that this resolution will be effective upon approval of these precincts by the Indiana Election Division. That no objection is filed by a voter of the county with the Indiana Election Division by noon, 10 days after the publication of notice of the proposed precinct establishment order. Or at the time of objection is filed by a voter of the county upon approval of the Election Commission after hearing pursuant to Indiana Code. Just need a motion to approve this resolution 2023-2. 2, which is the resolution of the Board of Commissioners, and then the city's ordinance is attached as an exhibit. Any questions on that?
All we're doing is basically changing our voting precincts to align with the way the city of Decatur changed their.
Yep.
Changed their.
Yes.
Before they approve the motion, Mark, I probably should reiterate the fact that this will not be moved to the municipal election of this year because of the time frame. Unfortunately, we had to send it down to the state for their approval. I had talked to IED after our meeting, and we are not on the list to get that approval. You have to submit a, chain of command as far as getting in the order for them to review any changes that we were going to do. With us being last minute, basically, unfortunately, it's not going to be the timeline that we want for this municipal election. But once your approval, we will be able to do it for the 2024 election period. So technically, what we're going to be doing to adjust for the census, we're going to do a split A and B for this municipal. That makes sense. So abide by those
So it
statutes.
doesn't change anything for city elections.
It's just for the voter, for Decatur, 3, I'm going to be splitting A and B. So there's going to be a split for this election. Unfortunately, I wish we would have had this sooner. We could have had it for the municipal election.
But it'll be corrected from here forward.
Yes, once this is approved, we'll send it down to the state. So it gives us a little time frame for the 2024 election period or cycle to get everybody moved where, and we'll eliminate that split and make it where it needs to be.
Right.
Boundary lines.
To where the district lines will coincide with precinct lines. Yeah. Okay.
I apologize, I wasn't scheduled in with the state as soon as we could have, but when I talked to them, it would have been a miracle to abide by the timeline.
Had discussions with you and discussions with Mark, and also brief conversation with city attorney. They are very much appreciative of your cooperation with them. Yeah.
I just want to make everybody, now I'm clear with it too.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-2.
Second.
Okay. Motion carries.
All right, so I'll send it down for your signature, and we'll make sure you got one. And so I think then you can take the signed resolution from the commissioners and then send it down, and it looks to me like they publish it. I don't know whether we publish or not. That's a question maybe for you.
Yeah, I thought it was us, but I got to
If we
double
need to
check.
publish, if the commissioners need to publish, then let me know. And we'll get it published, but because it talks about 10 days after the publication of the precinct establishment order, which I think comes from the election division, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, we wouldn't be able to do any move until after the November election anyway. So the
Okay.
publication, we have a lot of time now for this year to at least, we won't be able to move anything until after the general election. So,
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so here's, send these down. There's 3 of them. One of them's on 1 page or 2 pages, and the other one's front and back. So get all 3 of them signed, and then we can get on. And I've got the city's ordinance here to attach. I'll give one of those to you, Tony, and I'll just need one copy here, and I'll make sure.
I have actually a copy of the city ordinance. I just, they're signing it.
I don't know where those other things go. How can there's some of those things new, but so
Well, you need to have one, the other things, not the resolution, but the other things you need to sign for micro voting and stuff. Yeah, you'll need those too.
So, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of had your hands full. I stepped in.
What's that, Sue?
You kind of had your hands full when you stepped in.
Yeah, I didn't understand that it was, we were at the last minute, the 9th hour to get everything finished. Without, I thought, oh, we just sent it to the state, they're good to go. That's not that easy.
Oh, don't we wish? Surprise, surprise.
That's it.
All right, get those back.
We had 2 of them assigned.
Was there only 2 of them, Mark? There's 3.
I must have missed one.
Yeah, Stan missed that one. This goes with that.
You're gonna have to sort them out which page goes with which.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And also on the micro vote contract,
Yes, yes, yes.
so that's, is that appropriate, is that budgeted in?
Yes.
Yes. Elections?
Yes.
Okay, so it's budgeted, because this is a 3-year agreement, so it automatically renews. I usually don't like automatic renewals, but I can't see that we're gonna go away from micro vote anytime soon.
I think I'd be nervous if we went somewhere else.
So we just need to have the commissioners approve this. And so
Yes.
this is the agreement for the Infinity, the 2023 Infinity Voting System Annual Maintenance Agreement. They got down here going through the Board of County Council, which is not correct. So we made that the commissioners of the county. And so this is for them to supply all support, for our support. Version control, I think upgrades, and it's $13,000 per year, and so that's budgeted in elections. And we just need a motion to approve this agreement, and Stan can sign it, and then Tony, you can keep one, we can give one to you two,
Second.
and then you can send it in. Any questions on that? You want me to make a copy of that? Let's get it signed and then signed, then I'll get a copy.
Motion carries.
But also the CSI agreement, which is kind of, it's interesting. So I've read through it and it has all the software licensing language that you normally see. One of the things that was interesting says the software, now this is for the court's case management system. It says case tracking system, the clerk's case accounting system, the JTS access, and the JTS reports. What's interesting, it says $4,000 is the annual rate, which I'm shocked that it's that low. Is this covering just one module?
Yes, so this was our old system before we went to Odyssey, which we currently use for our file management and financials. The CSI, we still kind of have to use, it was very implement for me to utilize last year when I was cleaning up books. And so a lot of records were on this program that I had to go back to, and sometimes certain things that didn't convert over to our Odyssey program, we still periodically look in this program. It's a necessity for a little bit longer than.
Yeah, it is.
just
I agree,
eliminating it.
because I know when we made the transition, there were certain records that just didn't move over.
Mhm.
And from the title standpoint for searching records, I know we have to have the ability to go back and see some of these old records, and there's some that just, up to a certain date, and it was certain records that just didn't transfer to Odyssey. And that has been a pain. But yeah, that makes more sense to me now, because the Odyssey system is what we have now, and that's through the state of Indiana judicial branch, I mean, that's where that comes from. And so that makes more sense to me, because, now that you say that, yeah, we have to maintain this, there's no question about that. Yes. So I just need a motion to approve this, CSI license agreement.
Will there come a point when they don't support CSI anymore?
When- Hate to say this, but when it comes to a point that a user doesn't know how to use it.
Oh,
Because we don't really train anyone on this program other than I have, Jamie has, and just some few others that have, before we went to Odyssey, knows how to look into that system. I'm hopeful eventually we will no longer to keep that license or that.
So will there come a point where title companies don't need this either?
It's documents mostly that convert over to Odyssey, and so sometimes we have to, we go to this program. It's there, but it's not in Odyssey. For some reason, it didn't take that document over to Odyssey.
Right.
And some financial stuff that I've looked into as well, so.
maybe, but
So what if we didn't pay this contract? Are the records at CSI or do we?
You like log into it and you can bring up to, say if you're looking for Don Smith and say for whatever case, oh, there's a record here that it didn't go into Odyssey. And then we could pull that record here,
But I guess my question is, if we don't pay this maintenance agreement,
then I would not be able to use, we don't.
we own the data, and it says that. But the data's ours, we own it. The problem is without the software, we can't access it.
Yeah.
I think we need to approve it.
Yeah, we can't access it. And so, at some point, if we're able to get that data ported over into Odyssey, then we could drop the licensing here. We wouldn't need
it's
this.
a license, not a maintenance agreement.
Yes, it's a license agreement for the software.
Yep.
So moved.
I'll send it down with just one of these, but it's got signatures for all the
It sounds to me like the system we bought didn't do its job. And so as a result, we've got to pay $4,000 to maintain the system it was supposed to replace. So
Yeah, I don't know if Odyssey didn't do their job or they just weren't compatible.
No, they're doing the entire state, so there's certain things, I mean, it's a really good program, Odyssey really is, because I love it, to be honest with you. It's just that there were certain things, especially investigating stuff that I found in CSI that just didn't really explain itself when I go into Odyssey. So when I go to CSI, so it gives me a history of certain things that I can't really see because it was Odyssey didn't have that information to go in depth of things.
Very good. All right, anything else? All right. Mark Green. We'll see how big your stack of papers is today.
All yours.
press, and this is telling us, you don't need the original, do you?
No.
Yeah, but also you gotta sign one too. You know, get you the other ones here.
So I think we've got a plan to get away with this.
Yeah. One subdivision.
Yep.
Be simple.
Go ahead, Mark, here.
That,
West Ohio, south of 124, 150 south, and all of this, right direction, this singular piece. I want to break out this piece, actually, this guy's gonna be buying this, this neighbor. So it's a two-lot subdivision. 650.
cool.
Second.
Wow, this is curious. For some reason, I was thinking it was one of the things we had worked on was foreign judgments.
Yeah,
Out of county judgments. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Everybody else, if I hear.
So they want to come to you.
We kind of love it. And in fact, this is different. This is your law. This is a part of ours here. She's going to witness you guys notarizing as the.
You don't want that.
Has been completed. The signatures. From parties involved here, and we'll put this on the docket. This week.
Have copies of it.
This is not approval. This is the new resolution. It's the other line.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You are that guy, so we're just trying to sign today. We're going to sign this side today.
You guys are gonna sign it and then I'll take it over.
Josh, tell me needs to go sign this. He told me. Yep. This right there. That's their resolution. Oh.
Yeah, I think that.
Do I have a copy of this too? Yep. You gotta make a one for you. Okay. And the only one I don't have is the CSI right there.
You need to sign here, stickers.
And that. I've got the Infinity. What's that?
You'll bring it upstairs.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not carrying my.
Doesn't mean I'm paying for anything. Stan's name's on there before mine.
I've always said, but it's pretty handy to have a home sometimes.
Sometimes. And then the only one I don't have is CSI was. This is attached. This is attached to that. All right. Oh, to the resolution. Okay.
Bonus one here.
We'll have her with this. CSI contract. All right.
You just copy that.
There's three. Okay.
Thank you.
I think I got everything.
Took one out of the year with the bank. $10 million project.
Wow.
I told
I should say. Did I give you the microvote one? I think I gave you the original one. So. Yep, you got it.
Here is the resolution.
Okay.
Here.
Yes.
You. Thank you, appreciate it.
Nothing really special. Same as normal months. We did have that nice permit come in for Red Gold. They're building on 1200 South, right at the county line, right off of 27. Another warehouse. The space where they're at, they've got all that land. I was in front of the planning commission to rezone this a couple of months ago, and now.
Did we get that worked out down there?
Yes, we have the,
Yes.
yes, I met with them, called with them, and they, once they are done with the construction part, they are gonna come in and resurface the road,
Okay.
at least in their section that they're gonna be using.
Are they widening that or anything for semis?
Well, the intersection at 27, they're gonna do some stuff there, but they can't in their right of way, to widen that. But if you get into their building, no, they're not gonna widen the road.
Is that gonna be a problem?
No. If you've been by there and seen their driveway's not that far down, I had asked them, you know, because obviously at first when I thought of a big warehouse, I'm like, oh my gosh, 500 trucks a day, and he said, no. He said, you might have 5 trucks a day, other during, you know, winter business. So it's not gonna get near the traffic that I initially thought it might. But they are going to improve the road once construction is done.
I'd say what, it's 150, 200 yards off 27.
Yeah, it's not far.
So at their entrance.
Well, that's pretty exciting to see that, so. Very good.
We'll have this is the end of the year, obviously, this is a full year's work, but we'll have the end of the year full report. Hopefully next month.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments from Mark? Anything else you want to highlight on there? Okay.
Sorry, I was late.
So,
I have a foundation I have to look at, or they'd be seen at the ground before I got there.
that's
I'll make a motion to put this.
Second. Very good. Motion carried.
It's on for next Tuesday.
Mark, don't forget this.
Oh, yep.
Shannon, did you have anything?
I do one thing.
Yeah, that's how.
Mark Blankenship talked about it already, but just official permission to post and recruit for his facility maintenance tech position out at Old Meadows. So I
Okay.
Motion approved.
Second.
thanks.
Don't have to leave. Okay. But yeah, I'll be over here, yes.
What's the matter?
John Summers is here to, at your guys' request, discuss that article, but he had a link to become president. Drew and Ray, do you wanna? Once we get rid of Mark.
Yep, trying. We'll slow day.
I apologize, he said John left, I should have brought you guys in first, I didn't realize that it would be so long getting through business for today.
That's okay. Hopefully I can cover everything that you have questions on. Steve, I understand you don't like things by email, so I can send that to you. What I'm handing to you is the ARPA fund update as of yesterday, January 16, 2023. We received, the Adams County received $6,949.23 in two sums, one on May 2021, one in May of 2022. Of that, there have been numerous requests made, and a total of $4,429,338.70 has been allocated. So we have a current balance of ARPA funds, $2,519, $519,924.30. We don't have any pending requests. The last request that was made at the January meeting, and so we have no more pending requests. I've also included for your review a brief memo on ARPA provisions, just some of the things that it can and can't be used, and some of the procurement methods that have to be followed in utilizing the funds. I understand that there were some questions with regards to ARPA, so I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have about it.
Well, one of the things in looking through this list, we've got COVID pay for city employees. Did the city have their own ARPA funds?
County employees, CTY.
Oh, county.
That was just my abbreviation for county, sorry.
Yeah. And then the one question, a couple of them that were approved, we had Town of Geneva for infrastructure, and then Parks and Rec. So on some of these, those were probably ones that involved infrastructure that we had some questions on, so. But Parks and Rec, we've got them all together with pickleball and equipment repairs. And then some of those, like I've got a quote for the Limberlost, see uncovered bridge from Limberlost Construction. So that's a bridge that's actually owned
Correct.
by the county.
Yes,
And then
commissioners.
so I don't know if we need to break out anything in there, because one of the other questions, the pickleball courts at the Decatur Annex, they're actually being city property. So, and as far as the technicality of doing a project like that, number one, I guess, does it fall within the parameters of the ARPA funds, and the other thing was, means it's on city property. So I guess that's a question between you and Mark as far as how we should look at that, as far as infrastructure.
I believe that would fall under the pickleball court. It's currently a sand volleyball court that they're going to be converting into pickleball court. So it's
Right.
not creating new property, it's basically improving existing property. Granted, it's being rented from the city. However, the city has approved that particular upgrade.
Okay.
That's not unusual because we specifically looked into a request made by Council of Aging to make improvements to their building. The only difference there is the city did not approve of the proposed changes and upgrades.
Okay.
So it's something that's been contemplated before and is considered within the purview of county council because it's not an improvement to a structure that is owned by the county per se. With regards to the bridge, though, there is statutory mandate saying that the commissioners are specifically in charge of anything with regards to structural maintenance and what have you. So
Gotcha.
certainly you would have veto power on that. The ARPA funds going to the council are just like any other appropriation. Any kind of money that needs to be spent has to be approved by council. But if it's any significant capital expenditure or improvement or purchase or something of that nature, it does have to go through the commissioners. We've only had, I believe this is the closest thing that's come to that. Everything else has been things like improvements, paying for
To county buildings.
improvements to existing buildings. There's not any real structural recreation of the building that's been happening except for this. But I did go ahead and send an email to Parks and Rec to let them know that they probably need to come here and discuss their project with the commissioners before proceeding, despite the fact that the council has approved the funds, because you do in fact have veto power if in fact it is considered a structural improvement. It's not county property, but it's run by the county, and it is a structural improvement, so I would think that the commissioners need to be part of that.
Any thoughts on that, Mark?
No, I think that's well together, you. The only thing that I'll follow up with you, but we just want to make sure we're following procurement requirements.
Right. And I do have an overview of the procurement requirements. Mark's your go-to guy on all of that. Unusually enough, ARPA wants us to follow federal procurement requirements rather than the standard state ones. They don't differ a whole lot, but enough that it may make a difference. So Tony's been very good at making sure that anybody granted ARPA money has been following those. So we've been fine with that. But just so you know, I provided an overview of the process in case you have any questions about it.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that because, you know, from the start, I was kind of always of the opinion that it was a dual approval process, you know, and so.
It's more of an appropriations process. The money is-
Appropriations process,
Right.
okay.
And so since it's an appropriations process, it's really in the purview of county council.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they appropriate the money, but then you guys are in charge of doing the project.
Right. The project is yours.
Yep.
So like with the Parks and Rec project, the Parks and Rec board themselves are responsible for facilitating that improvement to that property.
They would have to handle all that and go through the proper procurement procedures, yes.
Okay. But you're like the covered bridge, then it would be
That
up
my
to us.
understanding, yes, that my understanding is just a painting, a repainting of it. It's not a,
Yeah.
rebuilding of it.
Yeah, because he's just got, tighten all vertical truss rods on both sides, tighten all horizontal rods on top and bottom of bridge. Refasten loose siding and paint all previous painted siding and trim.
Right, so it's
So
maintenance
that's
of an
what-
existing bridge. If you have an issue with that, certainly that falls within your purview and you could nix that.
Okay.
That's entirely up to you.
So,
But like I said, I did direct him to consult with you before proceeding on his projects as they are kind of a gray area, but just in deference to your opinions, he's gonna come here first.
Cool.
And
Thoughts,
in the
comments?
future, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, any future requests that I get for ARPA, they go immediately to the auditor's office and then come to my office so that I can review them to ascertain whether or not they would qualify under the ARPA regulations. And then I distribute the request forms and any supplemental information provided to me to all the council members so they can consider it when it comes up. I will do the same and provide you all that same information. It may not apply, but just so you're constantly in the loop.
Yeah.
So I apologize for not
Definitely
having
appreciate
provided
it,
you
yeah.
with ARPA updates up until
Because I know you and Mark have spent probably a lot of time reading through those regulations.
this thick.
And I realize it's probably recreational reading, but you just love to sit. It's a mess. And webinars that I said. Yeah.
Webinars, Barnes and Thornburg had something down in Indianapolis in November. Got some good information there. So, yeah, there's a lot to do, but if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. It's a lot to go through, but I've had a lot of help from Barnes and Thornburg people, Mark. So if I can help at all, let me know.
Well, and I think a lot of that with the billable hours have come out of the ARPA money also.
Correct, yes,
Which were allocated for that, so.
correct, yes. So it's not county funds, it's ARPA funds that are paying for all of my work to get all of this stuff together for you.
Yeah, I sent another email to Barnes and asked, this was last week, and I just sent another reminder here, and he just responded, but I wanted to know if there was been any changes. And so I'll hopefully I'll hear from him. If I get it, I'll send it on to you. Just forward the same information that you got there to me too, and I'll take a look at it and make sure I've got it saved in my directory on our, because I think on the server, we have a few different places where everything's at.
Yeah, sorry.
But I think it's under, I think on the server, it's under county, and it's under COVID.
It might be.
There's a folder for COVID, and then when you open that up, then there's a folder for ARPA funds and all the research and stuff like that. So I know that's one spot that it's where stuff's at. So, yeah. I mean, the web category they opened up pretty much allows to replace anything that regards government. I mean, they added that one to get that money spent because it was so stringent before.
And just so you're aware, the criteria, the eligible uses are supportive public health response. That's really not an issue anymore since we're out of the pandemic. Address negative impacts, providing government services, premium pay for essential workers, and water, sewer, and broadband. Right now, pretty much everything's falling under providing government services.
Oh.
That used to be the showing of economic loss, and you have to do some kind of ridiculous Machiavellian calculation.
Right.
You don't have to do that anymore. Basically, if it's something that provides a service that a government agency would ordinarily be providing, or to help with a facility, it's considered okay. So.
In our office, I have to go in once a year to the Department of Treasury and fill out what we're using that for, how much, and all that, which I've already done. I'll have to do it again this year, later on in the year.
But we have resolutions for everything that has been passed, and this is a summary of all those. This doesn't mean everything has been spent, just so you're aware, particularly the one for the sewer district. That had $1.5 million allocated to it, but that hasn't all been spent yet. We have to, as a county, decide how all of it's going to be spent by December 31st, 2024, commit to how to spend it, and then it has to actually be spent by December 31st, 2026. So we've got time, and we've got plenty of funds. I will keep you in the loop as to anybody else making requests.
What's the balance now?
$2,519,924.30.
2.5, all right, good.
That could help
It's not all
balance.
done.
Do you want a copy of this, Mark?
She's gonna send it to me.
All right.
So,
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, sorry to make you wait through the whole deal.
Council might be able to get the bill.
They can just appropriate more.
Well, that actually, that was discussed, that might be what it's good for.
All right. Anything else from general public? Gentlemen, anything else that we should discuss during?
I won't be at next week's meeting physically, but if we can set up a WebEx, I can dial in.
Okay,
Tony, can you reach out to Ethan does? So can you set that up for us?
And you said that's next
Next week. Next Tuesday.
24th?
Yeah, 24th, I'll be out of town.
And just, I think all it would be is he'll just send you an email invite. And we'll just have to get you up. Will they get you a laptop to see?
Mike's gonna order one, but I think I can join just from my tablet here. I got Teams on it, so. And I'm getting my email, so if the invite comes to the email, I'll put the on the link, I think.
showed you this. Do we need?
We're going to discuss that. We have to do that in an open meeting.
The sale of the county farm.
Yes.
Around there.
Don't we have to do that? And I think we can get that and just.
The county ground, do we discuss that in an open meeting? I thought so.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's already been paid.
And then,
I can find out that. And Stan, you said that Dan was saying maybe Thursday.
yes.
I'll find out. I've got things kind of stacked up Thursday. I might have.
Well, it doesn't have to be Thursday, but I know in the past when I talked to Brooke, sometimes that's a go-to day for this.
Usually.
So,
That's jammed in on me now, right?
unless there's anything Friday.
But
I talked to Dan Rickard this morning about, sitting down and having a discussion with he and Mark and I, and maybe one of the city councilmen about the property at Northwest, those lots.
Good,
See what they want to do with
good
that.
deal.
I'll check with Dan and see what his availability is, see what we can do.
Because as of Friday afternoon, I'm pretty much out.
Yeah, I got the same thing. So they got me booked late Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So maybe the following week looks good though. So maybe the following week
Yeah, unless you want to do something.
on the Thursday the 26th, or even Monday, maybe Monday the 23rd. Would work. This is at least as of now.
During the day is fine. Evening is extension board, but yeah. So
Maybe Monday, 2 or 3 o'clock, somewhere around there. See if I've been paid if it ever opens up.
So, what's that?
2 or 3 Monday?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll check with Dan.
Yeah. And I told him, that we would just have an email to him and then he can decide which council members.
Yep,
That's
that's fine.
involved. Because I really want to send it to everybody, but I didn't want to just be the one to decide, so.
It's already in the
Oh, sure.
so we're good. Yeah. Just,
All right.
worship thing.
But if nothing else, we can move.
Steve, you want to
discuss that? And,
land sale?
Commissioner hours maybe.
well, I thought we did it in open.
Well, whichever.
Yeah, you can adjourn the meeting, you got open hours, and yeah,
Oh,
we can talk about it. The rest can stay.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned.